So we begin with some papers that will provide an overview of larger issues. And we start, first of all, with representatives of Partners for Sacred Places, which is a national nonprofit that for over 30 years has been very active in the field of working with congregations and cities. Robert Jaeger is the co-founder of Partners, founded in 1989. He's co-author of some studies that have been very important in this field, such as Sacred Places at Risk and Strategies for Stewardship and Active Use of Older and Historic Religious Properties. Bob holds a master's degree in preservation planning from Cornell and an MBA from Michigan. Rochelle Stackhouse is ordained in the United Church of Christ. Graduate of Princeton Seminary, she has served a variety of churches and is currently at Buckingham Church in Glastonbury, Connecticut. She has a PhD from Drew in liturgical studies, has taught in various seminaries, and is working also with Partners for Sacred Places. They're going to give us an overview of their topics on the public value of sacred places. Bob and Shelley.
Thank you, Tom, and good morning, everybody. Great to meet you all. And I guess I want to start by saying you could say there's two sides to the coin that sacred places represent today. On the one side of that coin, they're contributing enormously to the health and the economy of their communities. However, on the other side of the coin, many of their spaces are empty or underused for much of the week. But with the right kind of help, they can use their buildings more fully and sustain them more reliably. Partners for Sacred Places has undertaken 3 rounds of research over the last 25 years with the University of Pennsylvania and also the University of North Carolina to determine how congregations put their buildings to work on behalf of the community and what value they represent to their neighbors. This research has shown that urban sacred places have an average annual economic value, or halo effect, of $1.7 million a year, even with a lot of spaces not fully used. And rural or small town congregations have a value of about $735,000 a year. Furthermore, what's interesting is between 70 and 90% of the people who are served by programs hosted in sacred places come from the larger community, not the congregation. In effect, sacred places are already serving as de facto community centers, even though they can do so much more. So how can congregations build on this impressive record of community service and help and sustain their sacred places?
Clearly, there's a gap between the potential economic value of a sacred place and what is actually being realized. Am I being heard? Okay, good. In order to bridge that gap, congregations need to maximize their connections with community partners, and that's a major part of the work that we do at Partners. What we've found is that congregations are sometimes hesitant to open their space to those outside the congregations, especially those who are not known entities to them, because they're concerned about a whole variety of issues that they confront. Matters such as insurance, security, the wear and tear on the building, taxes, and the sheer amount of administration that has to be done for a congregation to share space with other people. And many congregations these days have been cutting back on staffing so that there are fewer people there for them to administer this issue. So while many of these concerns are extremely valid, most of them can be overcome with assistance from larger religious bodies, such as denominational agencies, or especially insurers, independent consultants, local government, and the very community partners who might use the space. We have experienced churches partnering with arts organizations to create new performing arts spaces, with healthcare providers to house new neighborhood health clinics, with government and social service providers to become centers for homeless neighbors. In pursuing these options, sometimes congregations discover that they themselves can continue to use space in their buildings and also be able to carry out their mission while feeling less burdened by the financial and volunteer costs of keeping up an older or historic building. Again, it's essential for congregations to build solid connections with community partners, often people who have never been inside their structures and need to be invited in order for those neighbors to help them with various things that the congregation themselves can't deal with. For example, community partners can access funding, grants. Community partners can access staff and volunteers, all beyond the capacity of a local congregation. Local governments also play a critical role in working with congregations and community partners to move through various rules and regulations, from zoning to taxation, which can either impede or assist creative community development in older and historic sacred places. As our nation fully emerges from a bewildering and traumatizing pandemic, and we do not yet have the data on the impact of the pandemic on these sacred places or the congregations in them. But one thing we do know is that congregations discovered that they could change and that they were in a place where business as usual was no longer taking place. This is a moment of opportunity for us because congregations have figured out they can manage their assets differently. They can learn to fund the repair and adaptation of their buildings in new ways. They can open themselves to new possibilities for partnership and sharing. Creativity and community engagement provide the only sure route to maximizing the public value of sacred places. Thank you.